I was born and raised in Camden, New Jersey. My mom Puerto Rican, so my mom was born and raised in Puerto Rico. I shouldn't be having these conversations with my mom. I'm not your man. My dad was in the streets real heavy. How can I develop as a man when the most primary man in your life is not really there? A lot of immaturities that I take on for the hatred of not having a man around. Being in the streets, that's what I kind of do.
What weight did you start at?
Where I was at like 292. But right now I'm at between like 230.
Come on, clap.
Like I said, I'm always willing to box.
Ain't nobody trying to fight you, bro. When I see you, I'm hitting you on sight.
I got an undergraduate degree in English education, one master's degree in higher education and social development, and then my most recent one was social work. I know my shit.
But you struggle with dyslexia.
I kind of love the fact that I'm in the mental health service.
Uh-oh. It took a turn, okay. The relationship you had with your wife, Christina.
She was smart. She was intelligent. She actually went to City.
City forever, baby.
That you can be in opposition but still be growing together. Yo, people don't like you. My biggest thing was allowing myself to be vulnerable.
Are we growing right now?
And I think that's what society tries to teach you, is that you gotta have a number of followers.
The honeys came natural, baby. He said, baby, I mean, it's me. Just call me the Mac, baby. That's what I do, baby. That's what I do.
I'm in my calling. I love what I do.
Which I think is definitely needed in our community.
A lot of the young men, too, they feel like they don't have a voice. They're like, oh, you me. Right. I can see you. That's what I'm trying to do. The anxiety, the depression, all the things that I got working on. The maturity thing.
Talk about it.
Is accepting the fact that when you're immature and people call you out to be more accountable, an immature person is gonna lash out.
You all who you hang around. The circle that we've created now is rough. We are a go. Welcome. Oh, it's gym therapy. We are here. Yes, episode 4. Yes, we are here. Welcome, everybody. This is episode 4 of the Gym Therapy Podcast. I appreciate everybody tuning in. I'm Passport Troy Lewis. To my right down there in the very end, we have Motivational Michael Miller. Yes, sir.
And the man in the middle, I'm going to introduce him shortly, and you'll get a chance. I'm excited for this one. This has been a long-awaited one. And I'm glad we finally here to get a chance to do this one with our guy in the middle. But, just welcome to Gym Therapy Podcast, where we discuss healthy living, our individual and collective fitness journeys, and this amazing journey of life. As I told you before, our mission is to help motivate you and to grow and change your life holistically in the 5 areas of life, which we call the Fab Five, which is physical, mental, spiritual, emotional, and the financial. Our bond grew organically out of Passport Fitness, where the gym helped each and every one of us grow around these 5 areas mentioned. It's also become a safe place for us to talk about life's happenings, allowing the gym to be a very therapeutic area. The idea of the podcast came to fruition because we wanted to help others and share our individual stories. So we appreciate y'all tuning in. If you get some substance out of this, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share page and help us keep growing this thing how we want it. So without further ado, let me get into my introduction for the man in the middle here. So our next guest is a member who has rounded out the Passport core. He's rounded out. He was one of the last to take on the principles and the culture of Passport. However, when he took it on, he came in full steam. From driving 35 minutes to get here, to train, participating in Spartan Races, and coming in with a growth mindset. If I could personify one of the Fab Five principles to represent him, it would probably be the emotional piece. And the emotional principle in that when he takes something on, he takes it on with a passion like no other. But as we continue to grow in this environment, he's developing each and every other principle. And the one I'm seeing the most improvement in recently has been the mental growth with this gentleman right here. He's an amazing father. He's a loving and devoted husband, a hardworking brother in life and in the bond, and he'll box you. Don't get it twisted. He's a solid brother, and of course, he's a solid brother, and of course,
he will box.
He's pivotal. All right. So I want to have everybody welcome Daniel Perez. Let's get it here.
Hey,
man.
Pivotal Perez in the building, baby.
I think my claps in there. I'll put them in there.
Yeah, put them in there. Put them in there. You want to put them claps in there.
All right. So actually, we right here.
There we go. Yeah, see?
Yeah.
Technology.
All right, man. So kind of how we start everything off.
Technology.
Who's Daniel Perez, man? Give us a quick overview, and then we're gonna get into the deeper side of things. But
Who is that guy?
Daniel Perez.
Daniel Perez, or Pivotal Perez, as they mentioned. That's the name that I recently took on. I was born and raised in Camden, New Jersey.
Jersey?
So I'm a Jersey boy. I decided to migrate out this way after college. My wife, born and raised Baltimore, so she decided to bring me out this way.
Yeah, wifey.
Yeah, wifey.
Shout out the team.
So, so ever since I moved out here, I knew I wanted to work with people or impact people in some type of way. Right. So currently I'm doing mental health work in like therapeutic services and social work. Got an undergraduate degree in English and education, one master's degree in higher education and social development, and then my most recent one was social work.
Jeez,
okay.
my
Two
most
masters?
recent.
Right.
My
one master's.
My one master's, and then my 8th master's.
Okay, masters.
Okay, Mr. Masters.
Yeah, okay. What you got for him first, Mike? Go ahead and start the questions off.
I mean, give us a little background of, you said you're from Jersey. Let us know what that upbringing was like. Mom, I know we maybe coming from a single family house. Can you give us a background on, how was that growing up with just a single mom and, no dad in your life? It's sad to say it's like the story of a lot of young black men, but can you just give us the background and how that affected you?
Okay. As Mike stated, I did grow up in a single family household with my mom. I was the oldest of 2 boys in the house, so mom kind of depended on me a lot. She kind of gave me that, as I would call, like a husband-son role. Mm. So it was like
which a lot of moms did.
Yeah. So it was always crossing a lot of boundaries, I had to take on more responsibilities than I wanted to, or had to have like grown-up conversations with my mom. And I'm like, I shouldn't be having these conversations with my mom. I'm not your man. I'm your son. But I kind of understand that's a dynamic in a lot of like low-income minority families. My mom Puerto Rican, so my mom was born and raised in Puerto Rico, and then she came to the States. But I mean, it's still part of the States. But she came here when she was about 10 or 11.
Oh wow, okay.
So always had that culture at home, but my mom was being born and raised in the hood. So my mom was like that Puerto Rican mom, but she was like that hood mom as well.
She was the cool.
So she was the cool mom.
That street knowledge.
A lot of street knowledge. Dad wasn't around, so little background story of my dad. My dad was in the streets real heavy, but my dad actually got into a motorcycle accident when my mom was pregnant with me. As they tell me the story, he catapulted, like he flew like up to the like electricity poles, came down, didn't have a helmet on. So my dad got like a lot of trauma to the brain and whatnot. Even still to today, my dad's functional but not fully functional. Right. So that's why I kind of love the fact that I'm in the mental health services, like, because it kind of remind me like I engage with my dad, but he has those issues with his mental, but it correlates with the whole situation. So my dad wasn't really around, needless to say. But the way I was always taught, my dad probably wasn't going to be around too much because it's 12 of us. My dad had 12 kids. and he was out in the streets heavy.
No,
So-
Dad wasn't playing.
Describe that impact of dad not being around too much on you.
So it was hard. It was hard. Me always asking the question on how can I develop as a man
Right.
when the most primary man in your life is not really there. He's not really present. So I always grew up with like a hatred, that foundational component. Like, yo, why I can't have another dad, or why the man above couldn't bless me with a different dad or a father figure. So I had to do a lot of growing up on my own, and trying to do that growing up, a lot of immaturities were embedded in me, and still has been recently, into actually engaging with y'all on Passport.
Wow.
So like I'm starting to notice that, like, even as a 32-year-old man, it's a lot of immaturities that I take on for the hatred of not having a man around or not having that male role model. So
That's big.
yeah.
What are some ways that you express that
Um
that immaturity that you discuss about
So
dad
that-
not being around?
the immaturity, I would say that I always try to overcompensate, and I never really wanted any assistance from anybody else. It was like, it's my way, I got to get it done, hands down. Another thing is the physical aspect. Since dad wasn't there, I never really got the component that you can be a man, but you still can be emotional and caring.
Right.
So a lot of the times, like with friends and everything, I've always been like real physical. Like I said, I'm always willing to box. I'm always willing to fight. So
Not lying.
It's a
I'll
fact.
box you.
I'll fight you.
So I had to learn that like real fast. Like, you can't go about doing that, especially having my two young princes that I'm raising.
Right.
I can't teach them to always try to fight through your battles. Sometimes you got to use your brain power. Sometimes you gotta be that emotional component. So not having dad around, I think that was a huge impact. Like,
So he was never there? Like,
so so dad was there, but it was occasionally, like, he would pop up. So I would probably see him, I want to say probably like 6 times out of the year.
okay.
Or like holidays.
Yeah,
things
so
of that
like
nature.
around holidays, and like sometimes he would like pop up like when it's the beginning of the school year and stuff. But like I said, my dad was in the drug game. He had that accident, mentally impaired. So it was just like, even when he came around, some of the things he said like wasn't supposed to be said to a child. So I mean, I kind of hated that as well. Like, between him and my mom, and I never really expressed this too much, but I was in crossfire. My mom having me as her husband's son at times, and then my dad telling me things as like a 7-8-year-old kid, like about getting high or women, prostitutes, and stuff like that. I'm just like, oh, I'm a kid that's
Right,
growing
yeah.
up too fast,
Hold
but I'm
up, bro.
not growing up. So yeah, so I think my exit way was to always have a heart out of shell and embody the fact that I never wanted to be emotional with people. I never wanted anybody to see that soft interior. Until I started doing the type of work I do now, I can actually put that in other kids that I work with, other people, and then also my sons. So my sons was a blessing as well.
Cool.
Awesome, man. Yeah. So the sons, I know some of us, from our backgrounds, myself included, not having my dad around, I feel like that's made me a better father. Would you say the similar case for you? Like, I see you, man, how you interact with your kids, and it's amazing to see
It
just
is.
everything that you're getting them involved in. You're always looking for the best environment to put them around. Would you say that's attributed to your upbringing, or what's that due to? That's you, man.
Yeah, so I definitely think it's attributed to not having my father around. So also talking to you two, because I know you two are also great fathers, and y'all install great principles into y'all kids. So I'm glad that I'm in this circle to be able to see that. But with my kids, I'm starting to realize I do so much and I overcompensate because I'm trying to make up for what I didn't have.
Right.
So, I mean, at times it could be taxing, it could be exhausting, but yeah, I'm trying to do exactly everything that my father did in my upbringing. I'm trying to do the opposition of that.
Right.
So I think I'm trying to make up for them and also myself.
Gotcha. So growing up in Jersey, like I know you're an athlete, was an athlete, college athlete and everything, high school. Go through some of the sports you play, man, because I know that attributes to kind of when we get into these workouts, you know, you have a good foundation for, you know, some of the movements that we've done because you're obviously, you know, a trained athlete. So talk about your sports, man. Where'd you play in high school and then in college and everything? And we're going a little bit into the college life.
Okay. So in high school, I did football, basketball, track and field, baseball. I also did surprisingly competition cheerleading.
Okay.
So that came about because the cheerleading coach, they did competition cheerleading, and she was like, "You're in shape." So like I was the most athletic. I got the award of most athletic kid in the school and whatnot.
So you do a kickoff and then go with the cheerleaders?
Pirouettes.
Backflips and whatnot. Nah. So the thing about it is, with the competition cheerleading, that was on the off season. So that was like in between breaks and stuff. Like we did like winter competitions and stuff like that. So it was gymnastics based.
Right. So you one of those Brolic brothers holding the ladies up in the air.
Holding them up,
Yeah.
throwing them.
That takes some upper body strength. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So also just somersaults. So I did like back handsprings and all of that. So I gymnastics when I was younger, did gymnastics and it transitioned into the cheerleading. So it was easy.
Word
It was
to
all
Aunt
around
Jackie.
easy.
Yeah.
Nah.
Word to Aunt Jackie.
So that was the main reason behind doing the cheerleading. It was like kind of got lured into it, and then there was a bunch of women around.
Yeah.
So I was like, this is my goal.
Yeah, brothers can have some jokes, but yeah, you got some.
Yeah, I mean,
good sights.
it's a good environment to be in.
especially when a lot of other guys that was doing it, they wasn't worried about the girls. So I was like, that's
Gotcha.
my house to go to.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's those are the sports I did. Did lacrosse a little bit. That's it.
So you was just all world. Lacrosse.
Rugby. I did rugby in college.
What about tennis? Did you do tennis too or something? Or
Nah, so like I was telling you,
you picked it up later.
I picked it up later. But the great thing about it is, my wife.
Uh-oh. Pause.
Pause.
Took a turn. Okay.
Nah,
I mean, if that's what you do. Yeah.
my wife's father. So my father-in-law, he taught me how to play tennis. And it's funny though, because he wasn't really around too much when my wife growing up.
Right.
But when I came around, me and him built the bond, which kind of helped out the bond with him and my wife. So they got well connected. And he told me, you too athletic to not know how to play tennis. So late nights, we out there 5-6 hours on a tennis court
Great sport,
in
man.
Kingsville
Yeah.
under the lights. He like, you got to learn it. So that's why I picked it up. Picked it up in like 2013, 2014.
Okay. Good man. Did you have any influence from like brothers, sisters, anything like that? You have any siblings that?
So I got my oldest sister from my dad's side. She's always been the glue that try to bring like all the siblings together.
Right.
It's always tough because if it's a whole bunch of children and she's trying to bring them together, but she's always been influential. She's always played a part, and she's always tried to stay in contact with me as much as possible. So I really appreciated her for that, and still to today. Right. Like my sons hang around with my nieces all the time, her 3 daughters, and like we try to make things happen. And then also my younger brother from my mom's side, we live with each other. So there's no way that you can tell me that that's my half brother. I mean, he's my half brother by blood, but nah, he's my full out brother. Like he's younger than me, but he inspired me to push myself each and every day because he was looking up to me since we both really didn't have that father foundation.
Right. Yeah. That's good. Yeah, man. Good stuff.
So I mean, from there you went to college. You went to college for?
So I went to college. So when I was in high school, when I played football, I really wanted to go to like a D1 school. The coach held a lot of our like letters and stuff.
Okay.
So it was like a whole scandalous thing that happened. So it came around it was like February of my senior year. I had to pick and choose what I was going to college for. I had the academics. I was a and B student, but I really wanted to do D1. But then my number one choice was Morehouse. I got accepted into Morehouse. I really wanted to go to Morehouse. Money.
Yeah.
HBCUs ain't trying to get money. So when I talk to the coaches, they're like, we're not a D1 program, we're a D2 program.
Right.
So we really can't give you no money. It's late in the game.
Right.
So I actually went to PWI, and for people that don't know, it's a primarily white institution. I went to Gettysburg College. The coach actually, he went from Gettysburg, he came to Camden, New Jersey. This old white man. And I loved him to death. His name Barry Streeter. His son actually played for Clemson. His son was a starting quarterback for Clemson like 3 years back in the day.
Okay.
Came up and he was like, we can make something happen. I can't give you an athletic scholarship because it's a D3 school, but your academics and me putting you to the football program is going to ensure that you get about 90% of your schooling paid off for.
Nice. Great.
So it was weird though, because going from the hood where it's just black and Spanish people to going to an all-white school that got about 4,000 people at it, and it's probably only 100 black people.
Right.
It's the wildest thing.
And going back to that real quick, you said the hood. Like,
Yeah.
what was it like growing up, going to school in your neighborhood? You know, before we get back to the college thing. I know we were saying like we kind of going back and forth.
Nah, it's cool.
But going back to your hood, I know you've talked about living in the projects. You've talked about, you know, how crazy it was in your upbringing. Like, what was it like in your community? You know, crime. You know, trying to go to school and do different things like that.
So the thing about it, I grew up in East Camden. So it's Camden in general. High crime rate, high violence rate. But the thing about it, it's a smaller Baltimore. So think about Baltimore, a third of Baltimore.
Right.
But all the crime that's happening in Baltimore is the same exact number of crimes. So the same exact number of killings, the same exact number of drug transactions, all of that. And then
with a smaller amount of people.
Smaller amount of people. And you know these people. Like, it's wild because a lot of the run-ins that I had, especially when I was doing wild things in the street, I wound up finding out some of the dudes that I was beefing with was cousins and stuff. It was family members. That's how small Camden is.
Right.
Or they was my brothers from his dad's side, his cousins and stuff.
Get out of here.
Yeah, so that the makeup, like even
you even talk about like how you went into some bad, you know, you was out there for a minute, you know, talk a little bit about that.
So just being in the streets, that's what I kind of know. I kind of know being in the streets, kind of hustling. My younger brother, same exact way. Because my brother died, my brother's father's side of his family, same thing. They was heavy in the streets, heavy into the crime game, heavy to the drug game. So it was something that you adapt to. It was normal. It was as part of our makeup,
right?
As they say. So funny thing is, and this is just coming out on the podcast. I never mentioned it to y'all. One of my mom's boyfriends, he actually killed my little brother's cousin because he was on the streets as well because of drugs and stuff.
Wow.
So it was the wildest thing because it's like this man murdered our cousin. Because like I grew up, that was my cousin too.
And he was in your house.
He was in our house.
Gee.
So that's how small the dynamic is. It's like, yo, like everybody knows everybody.
Gotcha.
So yeah, it was tough. But the thing is, I always knew I wanted the better. So even with doing the wild stuff I used to do, kind of being on the streets and stuff and just being in the mix, I transformed that hustling mentality to what I do today. I always got a hustling mentality, but what can I do to do it in a positive way?
Right.
And it's the clients that I work with. I love hustling and giving them as much knowledge as possible.
Right.
Instead of being on the streets and trying to hustle up as much dollars, I'm hustling whatever motivates me to keep on living. I'll hustle it into my clients, make sure that they're doing well.
That's what's up. So getting back to college, you go to college, playing football, talk about how you met the love of your life. I know that's where that started, and get us into that, because one of the biggest things I respect about you is the relationship you have with your wife, Christina. Like, I think to watch y'all bond and for how long y'all have been in, you know, the relationship together so young is commendable. So, I mean, you got a lot of relationships ending early, divorce, you know, for y'all to take on that responsibility so young. Talk about how y'all met, you know, how that came to be, and, you know, how y'all got to, you know, where we are now.
Okay. So me and my wife, we met probably like, I want to say August, while we was in college.
What year was that?
2008.
2008.
So I was already playing football up there. So we was in summer football. You had other people on campus. And like my wife would say prior to her, I was a hoe. And she knows this. You were a whore. Like you was a
I'm
whore.
a hustler, baby.
But I told her it just came natural. Like I always
The honeys
like,
came natural,
He said,
baby.
baby, I mean, it's me. Just call me the Mac, baby.
That's what I do, baby.
That's what I do.
I mean,
It's
it
pimping.
kind of come back to my dad though. My dad had all them children, so I guess it just
Yeah,
It's
you
in the
said
blood,
it's
huh?
in
my
your
bloodline.
Apple don't fall too far, baby.
so.
Sure you can deal with this.
I'll be your friend, your lover, your puppy.
So, no, but it's funny though, because when I met my wife hated me.
Really?
My wife was disgusted with the type of person I was.
cocky dude?
She was yeah. She thought I was cocky, irritated with me. But I'm looking at her and I'm like, yo, she was bad during the time. I mean, she's still bad.
Oh, okay.
She's still
Hold on,
bad.
you
No,
don't
my
want to
wife's
get you in no
still
trouble.
bad.
Like, hold
but
on.
I'm saying, no. But I'm saying,
We gonna
she-
edit.
I'm like, boom. And then you got to think about it. It's not too many black women on campus.
Right.
And I'm like,
I went to a small way college, so I can relate.
I got the top model.
Yeah.
So, but then the thing that attracted me to her even more was that she stayed true to herself. Like I said, she from Baltimore. So I heard the Baltimore
Be
slang
more
at
shorty.
times. But she was smart. She was intelligent. She actually went to City.
City forever, baby. You know what it is.
So she got the brain, she got the beauty. I'm like, damn, I only got the bronze. I ain't got the brain or nothing. So
Right.
I gotta try to get in.
Yeah, I want to get in the shit.
So we built up to it. Like she became my best friend. Talk to her about anything. I could let her know what's going on at home, all of that. She was always there for me. I mean, still to today, she my best friend. We had our ups, we had our downs. We had plenty of arguments. To the point, like I'm keeping it 100 on the podcast. That D word came up early in our marriage, because it was like we met at 18.
Right.
We both started growing, like maturity levels. Meeting at 18, you still a kid.
Absolutely.
You start going through your early 20s, people start to grow apart.
You change, yes.
Yeah. So I'm like, I'm changing for the better of me. She's changing for the better of her. But sometimes it wasn't cohesive.
Okay.
So
what got it to the point where y'all was talking divorce? Like what was going on?
it was just we didn't understand what adulthood was or what it was to bring.
Okay.
That you can be in opposition but still be growing together.
Gotcha.
So I think that was the biggest, scariest thing is like, oh, like I joined my social group that I became a part of. I was really invested in that. She already had joined her organization. She joined that in 2010.
Mm-hmm.
So that was long. I'm amped. That was my pride and joy. And she like, yo, what about me? What about? So she had to start finding her own foundation and her own components. And then it caused a lot of riffraff, caused a lot of arguments. I had to get to a point. That was a situation in which I had to mature. Yo, in a relationship, it's not only about you.
Right.
And then kids started coming on. That's growth.
Right.
Like you gotta learn that it's not all about you. And I feel like that's what a lot of men tend to do when we get in the early parts of our marriage. We still think we single.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you have kids, it's like, nah, I still need me. I still need to go to the bar. I need to be chilling with the guys.
Right.
No, you brought this life into it. She can't be doing all the work.
Right.
So I think it just took maturity and being like, you gotta find different avenues to spread your time out into.
And did y'all go through that process of like, I know me and my wife did, where you know, the kids come and it's like, y'all kind of in passing. You know, it's just like the kids are the most important thing.
The focal
to the
point of
mom,
everything.
and,
Yeah.
you know, it's just like, yo, what about me? You know?
So we didn't get to that. We never got to that point because we had people preach to us about it before our first came.
Good.
But then our first son, he was born prematurely. So we had him almost 4 months early.
Wow.
So it wasn't even a factor of us focusing on it was both of us poured our attention into him, but we did it together because that was a lot of like our first son was born 1 pound 15 ounces. So and then having to go up to the hospital to see him, the NICU and all of that, that was a lot on both of us. But I think it hit me the hardest because first of all, I'm a mental health provider / social worker. So I'm dealing with all the stuff I got to deal with at work. Then I'm going in between hours to see my son. Then I got to deal with the stuff at home. So I broke down plenty of times, cried. And that was me overcompensating because I really wanted to be there for him. Wifey would be at work in the morning. I'm going to see him in the morning. My lunch break, I'm going to see him. Late at night, I'm picking you up. We both going to see him. So, we didn't have that time where it was like too much focus on the kids.
Right.
Because we both was immersed in it.
How about right now? How old your sons are? How old?
I got my 5-year-old and then I got my 3.5.
Yeah, y'all in the thick of it. Like, how's that thing working right now?
So the thing about it, we try to balance it enough. So just like little slide dates, try to finesse it. So even like last Friday, I was working. I took 2 hours during the day and like, yo, get yourself together. I'm coming to get you. Nice. What? Yeah. What you doing? So I took her to it's this spot called Chuck's Tavern in Hamden. So we went there and we just did like a little
got that
breakfast
alone
lunch thing.
Date night in. Yeah, it's a good quality time.
How often y'all do that?
We try to do it at least like twice out of the month. Where we at least try to do that. But then we also we find little things to do with the kids. The kids are there, but the kids wind up dozing off or something. So we go to like the movies. And we both we sit there, tie the kids out, they slumped. And we just start sitting there laughing at the movie together. Like we put them in one chair with each other and we just sit and chill.
And how about y'all coming to Passport together? I know y'all work out with Troy.
Yeah, get them couple sessions in.
Couple sessions in. How does that feel, being able to work out with your wife?
So it's great. It's great working out with her. Like I really enjoy the energy, the vibes. But the thing is, we both competitive. So we
y'all be in here going at it.
They do.
We be going at it. So it's like the old commercials, the Gatorade commercial, anything you can do, I can do better.
Right.
Like, so me and her being here, and that it's funny because we start telling on each other. So we started telling Troy like, yo, she ate cookies yesterday. She like, yo, he did it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you made that cheesecake. Yeah, that cheesecake, right? Oh, we know what you did. Cheesecake Factory specialist.
It's competitive, but it's a great feeling to know. And y'all mentioned it before, like if I'm pushing myself to another level on all these levels, I gotta bring my significant other with me.
True indeed.
Because it's kind of selfish and immature for you not to want your partner to be in the same place. So I know like you and your wife comes and y'all do those sessions together. So it's like we push each other.
Right.
She actually started getting on the Peloton not too long ago.
Okay.
She been rocking it out on the Peloton.
Okay.
I'm like, yo, I was collecting dust. And she like, I'm gonna get on it. So it's a journey.
Motivating them, man. Yeah, that's the key right there. That is the key. So, what are some things that, because I know this summer you guys did a road trip. So what are some other family things that you all like to do? How was going to that road trip? How was that? What did you all do? So
this summer, for the last 3 summers, we try to do, I want my sons to I want them to actually be able to like physically touch every state in the U.S. I want to try to be able to do that for each of them before they hit 18 because I didn't do too much traveling growing up. So this past summer, we actually road tripped to Louisiana. And going there, we did stops in like North Carolina, South Carolina, Alabama. Where else did we stop at?
Yeah, Tennessee too or something?
Yeah, we hit Tennessee.
So y'all knocked out 4 or 5 states, huh?
Yeah. So that's what we trying to do. Alabama has some amazing barbecue. Even though I know Troy said that Kansas City got some good barbecue. Alabama has some amazing.
I've never been to Alabama.
Yeah. We took them to Louisiana too. It was a joyous moment because, like I said, I didn't get to do that. Mm-hmm. My oldest, it was a guy playing a trumpet just on Bourbon Street.
Right.
And he went up to the dude and was dancing with the dude. I got the videos in my phone and I be looking at it.
Right.
And it was just a joyous moment for him. The dude actually started singing the song with his name in it. Like, doing it all the trumpet and stuff. So it's great vibes to see that I can afford the things that I couldn't get growing up.
Nice.
For my children. So my thing is
giving them those experiences so
Yeah,
early.
good memories.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's like just trying to find little avenues to get them out of the regular norm, what I'm used to, what the generations before me, breaking generational curses.
Nice.
I don't want our family to be stagnant. Like you go into these them rich homes or these Caucasian homes and you see like, that's my great grandfather such and such on a mantle, and I want that to be us. Like all of us in Passport, we should have that mantle in our family home where they can point us out and be like, that's my great great grandfather.
That's right.
So that's what I'm trying to instill in my family and trying to build that with my children so they can build that with their children.
So what are some things you do with your boys? You know, being as though you grew up rough, you know, coming from Camden, it's just like, it's a rough lifestyle. And we don't want our young people to experience half of the stuff we saw or experience. So what are some things you find yourself doing with your young boys? What things are you telling them early?
So the first thing is just communicating with them. I feel like that's a huge foundation. That's a huge big point, especially in a lot of our like black communities. The fathers most of the time are silent. They don't say too much. Mm-hmm. The moms always say stuff. So within my sons, I try to talk to them. I showcase emotions with them, and I try to put that in them, because a lot of times, what I grew up on is the man. He's the breadwinner. He comes in. He don't say nothing. He get his plate first. Like
that's right.
That's
he
it.
Tough. You don't cry. You don't show no emotion.
Yeah. So with my son, that's the first thing I try to do, and then just try to get them to experience different things. Like even I know I talk to Troy and I tell him about the trips and stuff, but even food, like being knowledgeable about different cultures and stuff. Like I had the oldest, he over there, he was eating turtle soup in Louisiana, crocodile bites, like different stuff like that. Like I want them to experience things that man, the first time I had sushi, I was 18 years old.
Right. Probably California roll.
Yeah. From the cafeteria, it was horrible. Cafeteria at Gettysburg. But my wife was like, try this. And I'm like, what the hell is that?
Right.
We don't eat that in the project.
Absolutely.
Where the chicken
Where the
boxes
chicken
and
box
stuff?
at? You gonna need some French fries and some hot sauce, salt, pepper, ketchup.
It is. So it is a culture shock. And then just the first time I ever been out the country, I was actually 26. And I went to Paris. So like my wife, and I appreciate her so much because she's always been that one. Even though I can't go to these world-renowned places, I'm gonna bring it to me. So my wife always trying different foods and different shit. And I'm like, I don't know what that is. I'm not eating that. And she's like, try it. Try it. So I appreciate her. So
Giving you that culture.
culture.
Yeah.
Cause now I still be eating chicken boxes and subs all the time.
And that kind of brings us into the work you do. I think it's not by happenstance you actually work with young men in mental health, which I think is definitely needed in our community. Just breaking that stigma. You know, I know one of the things we talk about is, you know, mental being one of the, you know, Fab Five that we talk about. So I know you're actually getting a chance to work with young men, young black men in our community firsthand. So can you just give us some insight, like what are some of the things young people are dealing with? What are some things you're seeing in our community, ways that we can help our community, you know, with mental health, taking that stigma away that is nothing wrong with, like you said, showing emotion, having some feelings, being a man that show your emotions. I know you're dealing with that a lot, and you got a lot of young men you're working with. So can you give us some insight on, you know, what you're doing, different activities you do with the young people, just to, you know, help get them, you know, moving in the right direction? So
the most core component of working with the boys that I work with, it breaks back down to Maslow's hierarchy of needs and like the basic necessities. Most of the time, people overlook the basic necessities for a lot of these kids.
Okay.
So even a lot of boys that I work with, they at first they like hard ran. Like I ain't talking to nobody. I ain't da 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 da. But then you gotta slowly break down layers. I work with some of these boys that they was just hungry that day.
Wow.
They ain't have food or nothing.
Okay.
I sit there and be like, yo, I'll take you out to eat. I ain't got no money for that. Did I say you got money? Nah, let's go out to eat. Let's have.
Wow.
By the end of that session, they wind up talking, telling me everything that's going on.
Okay.
A lot of the young men too, they feel like they don't have a voice, because every time they voice their opinions, they always wrong or they always getting in trouble for it.
Nice.
Nah, go. Most of the time, go ahead, voice your opinion. I'm not here to criticize you. And then when I tell them my backstory and what I went through growing up, they like, oh, you me.
Right.
I can see you.
So there's no judgment.
No judgment at all. And that's what a lot of the boys need. They need images of them. So like even like in going to school, doing my research with social work, majority of the population is women. That's in mental health. Right. That's the first thing. And then secondly, is white women. It's Caucasian women.
Right. How are they going to relate to the kids?
You can't relate,
man,
at all. So the thing about it, most of the time that they see, like, and I ain't gonna lie, with a lot of my clients, at first I like to be suited and booted when I first introduce myself. But then after a while, I'm like, yo, look, I'm tatted just like you. I talk just like you. I don't always have to be professional. Because how can I empower you? How can I embrace you to be better if I can't show you my true colors? And how do I expect you to show me your true colors? So that's what I basically do with a lot of my clients. A lot of my clients.
I mean, but I know you've taken them. Like now that you're learning the Fab Five, spiritual, mental, emotional, physical, financial, emotional, it's like, no, you doing a lot of things with them. Like you taking them and you doing physical things with them. I know you doing, you taking them to different places to eat. Like
yeah. So like I said, with my own sons, I take a few of the kids. Occasionally we go for like sushi or different type of foods so they can experience that.
You love sushi, huh?
Yeah, sushi is amazing. Amazing.
Sushi
But-
aficionado over here now.
Sushi.
So, or just even exploring like different restaurants. So I know some of my clients, like they can't afford it. They don't have the means to.
Mm-hmm.
My thing is, I'm not restricting you because you don't have the means to. I'm gonna meet that parent meet me halfway. I'm gonna meet you halfway.
Right.
If that bill $20 and I know you ain't got the $20, but you give me $5, I'm gonna put the other 15 towards your kid. Because at the end of the day, it's not about the money. I can always make the money up. It's about the experience.
That's right. That's
And
good.
it's about that kid embodying that, because I would want some. If I was to die today or tomorrow, I would want the next man or the next person to do the same thing for my kid.
Step up.
That's nice.
Step up and do it. So with a lot of the kids, it's just about experience. I took a group of them to Gettysburg to see a football game. Man, some of them kids are like, this is Pennsylvania, 45, 50 minutes
Never
from
been out of
Baltimore.
Baltimore.
What is
It's
this?
completely different than Baltimore. Yeah.
Completely. Cows, and so we taking them out there and they enjoying the time. They like, there's a lot of white people, but the white people cool. And I'm like, yeah, you don't have to be scared of white people. you can embrace them.
Right.
My thing is, you're gonna have some that's not gonna like you or not, but that's they're missing out on.
Absolutely.
So just like those little experiences, getting them out.
So it sounds like you're just really making sure you're getting them exposed to a lot of different experiences and
A lot of things. And then I still got, so I started doing this work when I first moved to Baltimore, 2013. I still got clients that I don't work with no more that still contact me.
that's awesome.
Boys that graduated, they mid-20s with kids and stuff, and they like, yo, I remember the time you took me to do this. I'm like, dang, you remember that?
Right.
I don't even remember that.
And that makes life worth living right there. I mean, to me, like my students used to do, they still do the same thing when I was a teacher, calling me, sending me messages, doing posts about us. And I know for me, we're always looking to leave legacy, to leave a mark on this world. Do you feel like that experience, like how does that affect you as far as being as though you're worth to, society?
So my thing is, I feel like I've left the mark, and there's always room to leave a bigger mark or to spread that stain out.
Yeah.
It's a good stain. It's not a bad stain.
Right.
But I've done that. Great. And then recently, like I was telling y'all, I read the Kobe book. I had the Kobe book since it first came out, the Mamba Mentality book.
Mm-hmm.
And recently just clicked. Read this book. And in the book, Kobe talked about further, like later on in his career, he started taking the younger guys under his wing and teaching them his experiences to expedite their growth.
Nice.
To ensure that they're growing faster than what he was growing. Nice. That's what I'm trying to do. Man. Why would I want to see another man struggle? If you can do what I'm doing now, and I told a kid this tonight when I was having a session with him, what I'm doing right now in my mid-30s, I want you to be doing that in your mid-20s. So you got that extra 10 years of life to do whatever you want.
That's it.
That's all I'm trying to do.
And you planting that seed, giving them visualization early. Yeah, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
That leads to one of the questions I was thinking about. Like, do you feel like have you found your purpose in life yet?
So yeah, I definitely found my purpose in life. My purpose, I've met my purpose. I'm doing what I need to do. But my thing is now it's about how do I grow myself so I can make this an even bigger thing.
Keyword.
Mm-hmm. How can I grow myself to make this an even bigger thing? How can I impact more people? Because my thing is, if I'm not putting the time and the effort to grow what I'm doing right now with the masses or a larger amount of people, I'm doing myself a disservice and I'm doing them a disservice. Right. So I think that's the big. I'm in my calling. I love what I do, but how can I impact and touch more people? And it don't have to be a money-based thing. It don't have to be none of that. But how can I put my arms around more people?
So let's go to, I know going into your calling, like Troy talked about, I mean, one of the biggest things is you're looking to become a social worker.
Yeah.
And we all know that test is a monster, right? So you taking it, failed, you taking it again. So talk about the struggles of that. Like, we know you do, you finally opened up to us and, let us know that you struggled with dyslexia. Mm-hmm. So can you give us a little bit more about what that is and how it's affected you and maybe how it's affecting you studying and, your journey with that?
All right. So with dyslexia, I've known that I always had it. I've had it. I got diagnosed with. I didn't get diagnosed with it until I was later in high school. And it was just, so I used to be able to speak Spanish. Like my Spanish was flawed. But when it came to writing or trying to comprehend it, like in books and stuff, it was difficult. And I never truly understood it until I wound up finding out that I was dyslexic.
Wow.
The thing about it is with my dyslexia, something that'll take any normal person on average probably like 5 to 10 minutes to read it, it'll take me 30 to 45 minutes to read it.
Okay.
So it's longer. The thing about it though, I've always been able to ingest more in that longer time period. So it's a gift and a curse. I can take in more, I can understand more of the stuff, but it takes me so much longer that I'm like always playing catch up. So it's a challenge. It's definitely a challenge. It has been a challenge for the test.
And what you say is because it's more of been it's one thing when you're engulfed in it, like college, degree, you're in the zone, you've taken a break, kids, wife, you're kind of in your flow, video games.
Yeah, that video game.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, you spent, we gonna talk about that. You spending 5 and 6 hours playing video games. Dang. So I know you've kind of gotten out of focus. Yeah. So how would you say like the dyslexia from you not being in consistent flow like school, is that affecting it?
I think the biggest thing was that the dyslexia would deter me at times. So the thing about it, I'm sitting there, I'm trying to comprehend and get the full meat of the stuff that I was reading. But I had to say that pause.
Yeah, you got it.
But the thing about it is, I would get so frustrated that I could regurgitate the information. If you ask me, I got people that's licensed right now that ask me about scenarios,
right?
Therapeutic scenarios. I know my shit.
Right.
But the thing about it, when it comes to that test, and I'm sitting there and I see the words and stuff, it's like knocks me off my focus.
Got it.
But test prep, I've been in plenty of test preps. The people doing the test preps was like, yo, you know it. I can't teach you nothing else.
Right.
You know all the core principles. You know what you're supposed to do. You just got to pass the test.
Yeah.
And every time I pass the test, I'm missing it by a couple points. So I think it's a matter of anxiety. When I first started taking the exam the first few times, I was dealing with depression, not truly knowing who I was, not being mature about scenarios. So I think that's what it is. But now I think I'm starting to get a grasp of it. I'm not 100% with it, but I'm starting to get a grasp of it. The anxiety, the depression, all the things that I got, I'm working on it now. So
that's what's up.
Yeah.
And I know we've had some come to Jesus meetings within our group with, with having conversations with you. And I know it was really getting you to understand like the fact that you didn't have a dad, like we're your brothers, and I know, you might not have seen us as blood brothers, but we've grown enough to the point where as though, I remember calling you like, Perez, I love you. I love your family, your boys, they my nephews, so I'm not here to hurt you. Even if we telling a joke or, we going in, it's just all in love because I want to see you become successful. So talk about like, and then from there, like with you growing, you're starting to read, you become like this whole Socrates type guy. You know what I mean? Like you really like, and I know that's from being the exposure to this group. And I know one day we were in training and I was like, all right, did you read Traveler's Gift? And you was like, I did. Then I'm like, all right, what's the first principle? And you was like, shook. Like you couldn't regurgitate none of the book back. But then that week you went and read the book and I mean, you dissected the book, which has changed your whole existence the same way it did me. So can you talk about what that felt like? What were you going through in your mind now that we know you were dealing with depression? Like, because I'm starting to see that probably had a lot to do with why you reacted the way you reacted to us at times. Like Troy said, ready to box. Like, you ready to go back to Camden. Nobody trying to fight you, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, talk about how that change in this environment affected you to make those changes.
Right? Okay. So, I mean, the first thing, like you said, is just since I didn't really have that male presence and I was always the dominant male within my house, I didn't know how to take other men.
Gotcha.
I always thought other men, it was I'm gonna get something out of you. If I'm teaching you this, if I'm embedding this in you, I gotta get something out of it. So I never took to other people trying to give me stuff. So I felt like at first when I was coming around, I'm like, damn, this is too good to be true. A whole bunch of successful men that's on their shit and they giving me this information and they being nice. This is weird.
Right.
Wow.
What y'all doing here?
What y'all doing? Nah, but it's just weird. And then the thing about it is, is the maturity thing.
Talk about it.
Is accepting the fact that when you're immature and people call you out to be more accountable, an immature person is gonna lash out. They're gonna become explosive.
That's a big statement,
immature.
bro.
Yeah.
That's big.
And that's the biggest thing with me. Like I was so immature. It's my way or the highway that I will become explosive. And my defense mechanism always growing up is I'm gonna get you before you get me. Rather it's physically, rather it's mentally, emotionally, I'm gonna attack first.
Right.
Because if I attack first and then you come back with a blow, I'm coming back even harder the next time. My thing is, I'm starting to realize.
Yeah, like you wouldn't stop.
Yeah, I wouldn't stop.
Like we're telling jokes, it's over. You're going to get the last word. I'm going to win. And when I see you, I'm hitting you on sight. Those are the things I'm letting y'all know.
Troy,
we being vulnerable right now. Troy, get the gloves. When I see Mike
with
this
the quad
Monday,
espresso,
right?
4 shots of
Right,
espresso.
4 shots. Because when I see Mike, I'm banging him in his mouth. And I don't want to fight you, Aaron Donald. I'm telling you that.
Over jokes.
I'm good. Over some jokes. So talk about your maturity that is taking place, because I think that's one of the biggest things I've seen. Me and Troy have seen the growth in you to not take that approach because we had to straight up tell you like, bro, as grown men, you always don't have to resort to the violence. Right. We can talk it out. We can have a conversation. And that's just us as black men, period, just learning like, okay, bro, like your toughness is not on, you know what I mean, on display right now. Like you don't have to show me how tough you are by us battling and fighting each other. We can do that. Everybody know, yo, are you tough? I'm tough. Yeah. Okay, and then we both just gonna have busted lips. You know what I'm saying? But that's not the point. My thing is talk about how that, you know, has affected you.
So the biggest thing with that is when you have that mentality, you lose people. So I started realizing even in the group, the shit started getting awkward. It started being Perez talking to himself. Yeah. And I had to reflect.
For a minute. Yeah.
I had to reflect and be like, yo, people don't like you.
Whoa.
And it's not, and my thing is, my whole life has never been about having people like me, because I don't give a fuck. But it's like, when you have men that actually care about you, not like you, and then you start to put a bad taste in their mouth, it's like, that's a coming to Jesus moment. Like, what the hell are you doing?
Right.
And my thing is, my biggest thing was allowing myself to be vulnerable.
Come on, sir.
A lot of the times, us as black men, we don't want to be vulnerable. We don't want to let ourselves go because we always told, you gotta stick this shit out.
Right.
You gotta go through it, regardless of the circumstance. And I think that was one of those things. I'm gonna stick this thing out and I'm gonna hurt you before you hurt me.
That's right.
Nah, yo, be vulnerable. Mm-hmm. Tell where your flaws is at. Because if you got people around you that's gonna help to build you up, what are you doing?
That's it. And I know you've had two big blow ups, one with Ma, one with me. And it was just like both times, all we were trying to do was help grow, you know, and I understand where it goes left, but it was just such great growth taking place in you.
But that's when it comes to people not being able to take constructive criticism.
Right.
And I feel like that's what us as a culture is all about.
Right.
As soon as somebody calls you out on your wrongdoings, we not equipped to be like, just fix it. I want to argue with you and I want to prove to you why I'm right.
Right.
No, shut up.
Come on, sir.
Shut up. Sometimes you gotta shut up, listen, and just show forth your efforts with your work and what you're doing. Don't sit there and tell me that you're going to the gym every day.
Are we growing right now?
Okay, then.
And we not
Hey,
seeing
what
no
we doing?
results.
I love it.
A couple weeks ago, different story, but I love it though. No, for real. This is true growth here, and you being able to speak it lets us know that you are truly comprehending what this is all about and what we're trying to get from you. And it's about that maturity level and just learning how to be a man. And being a man doesn't always mean being the one to first initiate confrontation or physical. Sometimes it's about being like, you know what? Let me listen to what this man has to say and understand what he's telling me, because it's coming. And when you know who your circle is, you know it's coming from a place of genuine just concern and wanting you to be a better person. So the fact that you're regurgitating that is like, okay, you're getting it. You're getting it. So.
And to know like, yo, yeah, it was like, yo, what's up? What Perez, like, is he gonna stick around? Because let's keep what we say about, let's keep it a buck. You know, let's keep it 100. Like, we've had a lot of people in and out of this environment.
I was one of
including you. Like, you could talk about that. Like, how did you, because I think that's what happened the first time. Like, you got stung a little bit and you was like, I'm out of here. You came in, you did a couple workouts. You was outside calling Chuck. You know what I'm saying? Calling Earl and them. And we ain't see you for a good, 8 months?
Yeah.
Yeah, like it was a good, 6
that long?
Yeah. It was.
Because it was October when we lost him, because we lost a lot of people in October.
And I
Right.
came back.
He came in January. So we lost you
January.
4 months. 4 months.
Yeah, I told
November,
you
December, January.
Yeah.
About 3 months.
3 months.
A quarter. We lost you for a quarter.
I went on a mic trip. I was on a holiday.
Yeah.
It's like, nah. So, but what happened with that?
Did you come back with extra 10 pounds?
Nah, I was bad. It was probably like an extra 15, 20.
20.
But the thing about it is being able to dish out stuff but not being able to take it back. I think that was the biggest thing. And because the workout, I've always, even at my fattest point, I can always rock out.
Fight through the workout.
I can fight through the workout. But my thing is, like we talk about those 5 different parts. That spiritually, I wasn't reading the Bible. I wasn't caring about what was going on around me. It was me.
And you spent a lot of time on video games. Like, talk about that.
Oh, yeah. So,
you know, like, I know you was doing that. You were focusing on being on the games.
Different circles.
Yeah.
So pulling you in different directions.
My thing is, I was playing a game a lot, and that my thing is being pulled into different groups that's not benefiting you. Ooh. I think that's the biggest thing. And my thing is, it's not always about trying to be the most popular person. And I think that's what society tries to teach you, is that you got to have a number of followers. Why do I need that number of followers? When I'm dead, you're not going to follow me in my grave. And that's what I started to realize, like, this right here, coming to Passport, I'm learning on all different spectrums.
Nice.
I'm not just we not just talking to you about fitness. We talking to you about manhood. We talking to you about potentially being a father in the future. We talking to you about finances. That's what I didn't really appreciate that.
Right.
Because I'm like, damn, y'all criticizing me about my finances. Y'all criticizing me about what I'm doing at work. But it was a good thing. And I feel like a lot of times we as people, we deflect. So when you get in that good, emotional, like I said before, a lot of us men not used to another man giving us that hug. That's what I thought that's what it was. It was me getting that hug.
Right.
But I was like, nah, I don't want this, yo. Leave me
tough.
alone. Let me fight you
Yeah.
instead. Let me throw a few jabs.
And it does hurt. Like you said, it does hurt. It doesn't feel good being in the fire. And that's what, you know, all of us are listening to a lot of David Goggins, and it's like, you gotta be willing to be in that fire. Mm-hmm. Get that struggle, take that pain, you know, go through it.
Right.
And you now to hear you publicly say, like Troy said, it's a freedom for me, like, to know, like, whoa, he really got it. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like to hear you say it, now you're able to regurgitate it. It's confirmation to me that, whoa, Perez, pivotal. He's really pivotal. He's listening.
Pivoted.
He's pivoted, right?
But the thing about it, though, and this is for anybody listening, you gotta take your expansion on so many different levels. Because even when I first came back in January, it was like, I'm fucking y'all up in the workouts. I can balance on one toe and
yeah.
But no, even though I was so focused on the working out, I wasn't focusing on the studying. I wasn't focusing on the reading. I wasn't focusing on being a better man, maturing.
Nice.
So my thing is, that's where we start to fade away, is because we become focused on one thing. Nah, come back in full force on all different levels, in all different areas.
Right.
So I think that was meant. It was either you or Lamar that said that. Like, man, we know you can do the workouts now, but what else can you do? And I'm like, y'all ready to fight? What's up?
Yeah.
But no,
because that's what I wanted you to see, and what we all wanted you to see, you know, is the fact that this is a growth in all of the five, not just the physical. So it's like you start getting that, mastering that, and it's like, bro, that's cool. But we see so many other areas that you can be great in. And yes, we're going to challenge you. We're going to push you. And you hear it all the time. You are who you hang around.
Yep.
You know, and if you're going to be in this circle, like, I know the circle that we've created now is rough. The normal person would, like you said, they're going to want to fight every, you know, that's kind of like why we have formed this five, and it is what it is, and we are. So, of course, we want to help. That's why we're doing the podcast. But I know this five is formed, and you pivoted and closed it out. You know, it's just like you were the last one come back. You know, we had a lot of people come back, and we don't see them no more. You know what I mean? And it could have been a bigger forum, but it's like you actually humbled yourself, was vulnerable, understood this is grown man maturity here, and that's what we're about. And you stepped up to the plate, which, bro, as a brother, I'm proud of you. I mean, the way you're reading books, you got goals to read books. You're now fasting. You're losing. Look at you, losing weight. You started at what? Like I said, that's where I want to go next. Like, you came back in January. I challenged you again. Me and Troy, Perez, look, we doing these Spartan races. And I mean, you started pushing back, like, yeah, I do it when I feel like it, if I ever feel like it. You know what I mean? I was like, all right, whatever. You was like, I'm gonna do it. And then I was like, man, Troy kept saying, did you register? You know, and that's how we start getting you on that. And then finally you registered and I got you to do a stadium, which was in DC, which is kind of like a light. You can talk about your experience. Starting from that January. That's when I feel you got serious about the physical.
Yeah.
Because you were like a beast all last year.
Yeah. So
And what weight did you start at?
So when I initially started with Passport, I was at like 292.
And where are you at right now?
So right now I'm in between like 230.
Come on, clap it up, Troy.
Yeah.
So
Troy definitely did that.
Yeah. Like, that is not a small feat.
Nah.
I mean, we can go back and look at them pics.
The pictures.
Yeah.
So we could definitely post up some pictures because the pictures is bad.
Oh yeah. I was with you. I was with you.
So the little group together.
Yeah, little group.
The chubby boys.
Yes.
Pause. That's a huge pause.
Oh man.
So
funny.
The Spartan Races. So Mike and Troy always say this. You can say you're doing it, but what are you really doing?
Let me see that registration.
That registration. Yeah. And I'm sitting there, I'm tiptoeing around it. I'm like, yo, I'm. So then I get by a few other brothers, a few other people, oh, you doing a stadium? That don't count. I'm like, I don't know what this is. So we go to DC, we in the stadium, and we doing what is it, 3.5 miles?
3K. It's a 5K.
5K.
Yeah.
So we doing it, and I'm like, at first I'm sitting there looking, I'm shaking my head like, nah, this is crazy.
Right.
And they like, oh, we got to do the next one. So we go out. That was a super. We did a super the first day. That was a super sprint weekend.
Yeah.
In Palmerton.
Yes, we did the super. Yes.
So then we
and
did
talk about what the super is and where we were and what you compare that to the stadium.
And what you experienced leading up
talk
to it.
About that.
This bubble guts.
Where was we at? Outback?
Where
Perez at? In the bathroom? Oh, no, that's, what's the other one? Not Outback, the other one.
One of the steakhouses. Whatever.
No, wait, it was
Longhorn.
Yeah, tiptoeing into the bathroom.
No, it was Texas Roll.
Texas Roll. Same difference, man.
It was Texas. Yeah, that's what it was.
The super. So the super is the 10K.
10K.
We went to.
It's about what? 6 miles.
Yeah.
6 miles technically, but
right.
Spartan miles is about 8 miles.
9.
Yeah.
So we went. I kept disrespecting it. I said, "Oh, so we gonna go climb some hills?" Wrong thing to say. It was a whole mountain. It was a ski resort mountain. So most of the time, you see people coming down the slopes. Nah, we was working our way up the slopes. Mm-hmm. That was one of the most physical things I ever did in my life.
And what did I tell you before? Perez, like, I need you to do some pull-ups. I need you to do some. Let's go climb some hills. I was going to
core.
I was going to the quarry, going up the hill, and I'm like, Perez, you want to meet me up there? So, and what was you telling me?
I got it. I'm riding the Peloton. I got it. Peloton. I need Peloton to give me a free. I need to advertise the Peloton because I talk about it so much.
Right.
But nah, that was a whole different experience. But the thing about it is, I didn't break down physically, and I kept telling myself, "Yo, they here with me, so I gotta rock with them." And that's always been my mentality because I've always been like a captain of my team. Mm-hmm. But I wasn't the captain in any of those races. Y'all was the captains and y'all was leading me to victory. I was like, oh, stop. So that kind of gave me an adrenaline rush, and I got an addiction. So then we did the sprint that following day.
Reluctantly. We was like, yo, what y'all want to do tomorrow? We gonna do this?
Look at me. Reluctantly.
So we here.
Yeah,
let's do it.
43 start kicking it.
And then we did the beast. We did the #1 beast in the U.S.
Killington,
Vermont. Oof. And that right there, after participating in that race, I'm like, you can do the physical. You can definitely do the physical when you push yourself, but now I need to be better.
Nice.
So that this upcoming year, I need to complete more obstacles than what I completed.
Yeah, I got to finish Killington first.
I know it was coming.
I know it was Killington first.
All right, for prerequisite, we started Killington late. You gotta get there early.
Yeah,
We
tell us
found
what they
out.
told us at the starting line.
Yeah, well, they told us go get some headlamps because it's gonna be in the dark by the time you finish. And we was like, we good.
We good. We got this.
We got this. We're gonna finish it. So we going through the race, and I'm like, whoa, we're not close to finish it. And if you didn't cross the finish line, you wouldn't get a medal. You're basically disqualified.
But they said we had to get to what?
It was a certain point.
A certain mile by like
626
by something, yeah. So, and when I say this race is, I can't even put it in the words. The mountains that we were climbing, and then you climb that mountain, then you had to
just
climb
kept
another
going
mountain, and then you just keep going up. And I mean, we were going up like
Never
straight up,
ending.
yeah, never ended. And Perez was right there, but I it's like, yo, we just got to keep going. So we did skip a lot of the obstacles,
Towards
Mr.
the end,
Troy.
yeah. So I really did like a sprint.
Yeah.
But-
So
shout out to Billy, man. I hope you listen to this, man. We finished up strong.
yeah, they finished
You know.
up strong. You know, them overachiever athletes,
Them
you know.
basketball players getting
The
out there and showing you how to
D1,
do it.
So we're gonna go back and hit Killington. I know that's one of the Perez big things he want to go back and do. But
Yours
I
too?
mean, yeah, mine too, definitely. Yeah, absolutely. I'm not leaving
At
me
the end
out.
of the race, she was like, never again.
Yeah, I did say no.
He's like, never again. This is dumb, Troy.
This is
Why are we doing this? Never again.
never again.
But then that pride kicks him like, yo, I can't go out like that.
Gotta come back.
Gotta come back.
Gotta come back.
Yeah. So
Yeah, but I mean, so you achieved something called the trifecta, where you completed what you call a sprint, a super, and a beast in the calendar year, which I commend you on that, bro. Your first time, like none of us have done that within our first time of doing Spartan races. So out of the group, out of our whole team that we know that has been doing Spartan races, you are hands down one of the, on hold the record, the only one. Let's give it up for him. Yeah, that holds that record that your first 3, you actually did 4, 5.
yeah.
Because you did one in
The two stadiums.
another 2 stadiums. Don't say stadiums like that, Josh. I gotta say the stadiums like that, y'all. Hey, didn't see stadiums. Okay, so
It's the
it's a
warm-up.
stigma on stadiums. So they say it's not a real Spartan race because it's not necessarily in the elements outside. So, but
it's
you
still
definitely-
challenging.
It's still challenging. It's a sprint, which is a 5K, all the same obstacles. It's just, it's a little plush.
Yeah, but if you ever decide to try the Spartan races, that's a good place to start out, is on the stadions.
Yep.
I think in the Philly one, it was like over 9,000 steps that they said we ascended and descended. Like I said, the obstacles and everything, you get to run out of the
Yeah,
field.
you're going
It's a great
up,
environment.
You're going
Yeah.
up in the stands, running up
Start
steps.
top level, come
Yep.
down to the middle level, then
Absolutely.
lower level, then you end up on the field.
So you put the work in.
Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely put the work in.
You get to see a stadium. The inside of this.
Yeah, when I did one, I was like, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I caught Perez trying to cheat the game out there too. Had him on footage like, oh, that's not 15. What are you doing? Like, you better not throw your hands up when you go across that finish line.
Right.
Being an overachiever, I made those up.
Yeah?
I got
At the stadium?
Nah, I did it at home.
What are we talking about? No, I did it at home. I did it in the comfort of my home. Yeah, all right. You got them burpees done.
Yeah,
All right, we
eating
take it.
s'mores. I ate s'mores after it.
Oh, he's good. Shout out to Dot. Yeah, so, I mean, how do you feel after doing that? What are some of your things you want to accomplish moving forward as we're winding down?
So, I mean, this upcoming year, I'm trying to do at least 2 trifectas. So I'm trying to do 6 of those. I'm not doing no marathons. I'm not doing no marathons with
Okay,
y'all.
hey, you go, bro. I take it.
I mean, I probably could work myself into a half one, but I need to work on that. But besides the physical components, I mean, I definitely want to lose more weight, but this year is a lot more. I need to work on my mental. I need to work on just transitioning my mindset. Like, you could do the physical all day, but when you start hitting 40, 50, and 60, your body will deteriorate. And if you don't have the right mindset, you will completely deplete away. And that's what I've been noticing. Like, I got to do more to read, and I got to do more of the self-discovery. Because the physical right now is second nature. Like, I can do it, but I need more time on developing myself.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
I like that, man. All right. Let's get into a couple questions, man. Yeah. First one. Whom do you need to forgive today?
That's real thoughtful. The person that I need to forgive today, I would honestly say it would have to be my father. Mm-hmm. And the reason I state that is because of a lot of the animosity, a lot of my frustrated moments with other people, especially like when you said with me arguing with you, Mike, it was I didn't have my father, I didn't have an older brother, so I lashed out at you. Like, nigga, you ain't my father. And I do that to a lot of other men that especially older than me. So I feel like today, in my heart of hearts, I gotta forgive my father. Because I can't transition or transcend until I forgive that man and the fact that he wasn't really present throughout my life. So that's pretty much what I had to forgive today.
Deep one right there.
Great answer.
What have you stopped doing that you need to start doing again?
What have I stopped doing that I need to start doing again? I'm trying to think. That one a little difficult because I feel like I've been adding more stuff to my arsenal.
Right. It's kind of like you
I've
did
been doing
those.
Yeah. So the biggest thing, and because I know she's gonna watch this, the biggest thing I need to.
Oh, you better say it because you coming.
I need to invest in my wife more often. So like, go back to the starting stages of our relationship, where I was doing the quote unquote corny stuff that didn't cost a lot. So nowadays I feel like I always try to overcompensate, and I gotta try to buy you this, I gotta try to buy you that.
Really all she wants is that time. Right?
Yeah, so I feel like I need to go back and do. I mean, she always said it was cute, but I need to go back to the simplistic things and start doing. I feel like back in the day when we first started our relationship, the simplistic things, I was doing more of those. It didn't cost nothing.
Because you ain't had no money.
Yeah.
To be creative.
Right. You had to do something.
So now it's like I hit you with the big financial thing, and that buys me off time for a month or two. So I think I need to actually go back to doing the simple things for her.
What would you say was one of your best dates that you had with her during that time when y'all were younger and you didn't have a lot of money?
The best date that we had, it's funny. When we were in college, me and her actually spent most of the day from sun up to like sundown. We went to the outlets near our school. We ain't have no money. We ate at TGI's. We got like the all you can eat appetizers. And we just walked around and just talked and got to like really learn who each other was at that young age. And then looking back at it now, we talked so much that day and ate all you can eat appetizers at TGI. And the bill probably was $22, $23.
Yeah. It was more about that bonding time and communicating, learning each other.
Yeah. So
Guess y'all had that all you can eat appetizers.
yeah. So we just paid for one.
Right.
And we was eating off each other.
Yeah, I was sitting there trying to think no, I know what they had.
we ordered that. So
But simple. But you
Mm-hmm.
remember the conversation.
Yeah.
And how much it meant.
Yeah. So the funny thing, yesterday, I've been reading the compound effect. Since last Sunday, every day, because in the compound effect, it talked about journaling about your significant other, taking the little small components and then hitting them with a bigger portion of it. So I journaled every day last week, and I showed her yesterday things that I journaled about her, and that brightened up her day.
Wow.
And I was like, I feel like me sharing that with her was worth more than me taking her out to eat and spending $400 or $500 or buying her a new purse that's gonna be $400 or $500. The fact that I was writing and I was like literally writing everything that I felt that was perfect about her that day. And just I wrote it down and I told her yesterday and she was like, damn.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's
It brings me to something my mother said one time in it was a church thing she was doing, and one of the lessons she gave us was she said, what if you woke up every day and your sole goal was to figure out how to please your spouse on that day, and you woke up with that on a daily basis? How much better would marriage be if both of y'all woke up with that mindset? And I just hearing you say that was like, wow, that's that right there. Like, doesn't have to be crazy expensive. Doesn't have to be nothing
Super
extravagant.
small, man.
It was something as small as just the way I feel, my thoughts, my emotions, and the fact that you did that daily,
Yep.
you know, shows that, wow, I had you on my mind every day this week, and this is how. So
It came,
big deal.
but the thing about it, it was great because it came from a book that you told us to read.
That's
So
right.
my thing is, and I'm slowly starting to notice that, and one of my mentors told me this back in the day, and I was always at odds with him, like ready to fight him. He said, if life was written in a book for a black man, how to just live life on a great plateau and then be rich, more than 85 to 90% of black men wouldn't live a great life or be rich because we don't like to pick up a book and read most of the time.
That's a fact.
We don't like to educate ourselves.
That's a fact.
So even that small thing of journaling for my wife and that book that you told me to read, what?
Mm-hmm.
That's a cheat code.
Tell him you're welcome, man.
Appreciate it.
Nah, I mean, I know I didn't like reading growing up. And I always said to myself, like, whoa, if I could just have been reading more in like middle school, high school. And it is like we didn't have that exposure. Nobody was telling us to do it. We was in school, but I'm talking about self-help books and all of the leadership books that I got exposed to late in life. If I had those lessons early, you know, it's just like, wow. I mean, of course, hindsight, but yeah, glad to see it's making a difference, bro. Like, I'm really proud of you in your growth, and I'm excited to see what the next 5 years are gonna look like, bro.
Appreciate it.
Sure, with this year, I want to see what this year looks
Yeah.
like, because you starting off on a good foot with acquiring knowledge, reading books, and then actually implementing these things.
Right.
And that's where the change comes. It's not just through acquiring the knowledge, it's actually taking action on that knowledge. A lot of people can read books and say, yeah, I read this, and when you actually start applying it, that's when it comes.
And when you can regurgitate, when you can bring it back.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. Like, one thing I really, when I started reading, and like I'm like you, if I had to go back and listen to it again or read it again, then fine. But if I'm not getting something that I can take further, it's no point. It's a waste of time. So it's like the point with reading these books is to be able to ingest it and to be able to bring it back.
And not reading just to read. And I feel like that's what I was doing. Like, even that first day that you hit me with the traveler's gift, I'm like, I read this. So that's why I got so offended, because I'm like, I read it, but nigga, you read just to read. You could flip through some pages.
Mike got offended. That's Mike's book. So like,
That's my pride and joy right there, man.
it's the first principle.
Shout out to Eddie Andrews, man.
First principle.
Yeah.
So the thing about it is, like, you reading just to read. No, take time. And my thing is, even when I have conversations with y'all while I'm reading, and y'all, I know, especially the young guys on our team, they be like, he annoying. Stop analyzing the book for us. Give us
Quoting it every time you type something. it's a quote.
But that's my way of comprehending, because my thing is, I'm a verbal person.
Right.
I can talk all day and give you everything, but then you throw the book in front of me, I'm like, I'm gonna turn around.
Right.
But I gotta learn how to build on my weaknesses, and that's how, when I regurgitate the stuff or I'm analyzing the stuff and giving quotes, is to build that comprehension, so I know exactly what I'm reading.
That's what's up.
So I think that's a big way that I've been working on my dyslexia, is like talking it out or reflecting on it, and how you can relate it to your life and what you're going through.
Journaling, another big thing. Yeah.
I've been doing that too in my Mickey Mouse journal. Word to
Oh
Jamal.
God, word to Molly. All I wanted to see
My sole
was
purpose
Mickey
in life.
Mouse.
My sole purpose in life.
Purpose. What I
Want
got
to meet
just
Mickey
see, right?
Mouse.
I just wanted to be Mickey Mouse.
Oh, we love it. We got jokes.
Forever funny.
Oh man. Another one I was thinking about as far as question wise, how do you want your boys and your grandkids to remember you?
So, how do I want my boys and my grandkids?
Like if someone was asking, like, you know, say years from now, you passed on, how was your dad? How would you want them to describe you?
So I would want them to talk about my father was all loving and all caring, but he didn't only invest in us, he invested in the people around us. Because I think people are so embedded in raising their kids to be like, I'm solely only supposed to focus on you. So I want to get my kids to a point where it's like my life here on earth, we can't be selfish with my life. So my dad was all loving, all caring, and he not only impacted us, but the community around us. So I want them to be able to talk about the fact that I ain't have to contribute financially. My father and my grandfather that was there, he just was an impactful person because of his words and the way that he educated people. So, I mean, even when I do become a millionaire or a billionaire, I don't want them to talk about the money.
Speak it.
I want them to talk about what I invested, what I educated people on, and how I helped them to grow and develop their own.
That's it. And it's the simple things. Like, to hear you say that right there, like saying, you know, Lamar said that a couple weeks ago. A year ago, it would have been if I ever be, you know, but again, it's just the growth that we're all, you know, helping each other to achieve is like mind blowing. So sometimes to hear y'all say certain things, it's like, wow. To hear Perez say, when I become a millionaire, it's like, it's a matter of fact now because you just know it and you're going to create it and you're putting it in your subconscious and it's going to happen. You know, so it's just, it's like a proud dad.
Yeah, man. So anything else? We can get
I'm
to the
good.
wrap
I
up.
mean, wow, bro.
All right, let's get
Great
that's a
one.
good one. Yeah.
Great
So I ain't got no quotes, but is there anything you wanna leave the people that are listening with, either some words or just something just said they remember you by, man?
So what I want to leave everybody with is take the time to truly know who you are and invest in who you are. Because at the end of the day, it's a selfish thing not to take advantage of life. So my thing is, in my lifetime, I can talk about I know who I am, but until you actually seeking that knowledge, seeking that wisdom, and investing in yourself and the people around you, you don't know who you are. You can be 50, 60, 70 years old and never develop a sense of who you are. And I'm not dying not knowing who I am. Because that would be a worthless life. To go through life not knowing who you are and what your sole purpose was supposed to be. That's dumb. Like I told y'all with the Kobe book, that man died at a young age. But even in the book, it kind of hinted at the fact that if he was to die today or tomorrow, he knew he lived a satisfying life.
Wow.
That's what I'm trying to do. Live a life. I can die tomorrow, but I'm satisfied with the fact that I impacted people.
That's great.
Man.
Awesome, bro.
Awesome, man. Another great show.
Another great one, Troy. Lewis.
Yeah. So continue to tune in. That was episode 4. Also, if you got anything out of this podcast episode, please don't forget to like the episode. Leave a comment too. Let us know what you think. Let us know where we can improve, and then subscribe to the page. If you are subscribed already, tell somebody else to subscribe to it. It doesn't cost you a thing. You know, you're gonna get a lot in return. So, Mike, anything you want to leave us with, good brother?
No, good brother. I think Perez pivotal. Perez
that right.
pivotal. He left us with some great words. Make your life worth living, bro.
There it is.
And live. You know, you only get one. So I mean, I'm taking that one.
Yes, sir. So
Great stuff, bro.
here we are. We out.
We out, y'all.